So today we're talking about May Wong. You've probably seen her name pop up recently, maybe on a US quarter or even a Barbie doll. She's considered Hollywood's very first Chinese-American movie star. And her story, well, it was this brilliant, incredible, and often really heartbreaking tightrope walk. And this quote from her biographer, Katie Gee Salisbury, just hits the nail on the head. It's so easy to focus on all the tragic injustice she faced, but her life was also absolutely defined by incredible triumph, by her resilience, and frankly, by her strategic genius. You see, her entire career was this huge paradox. On the one hand, you have this global phenomenon. I mean, she was an icon of the flapper era, a fashion trendsetter, critics loved her. But then on the other hand, back home in Hollywood, she was just constantly hitting a brick wall. She was stereotyped into these dragon lady roles and told she was too Chinese for leads, while at the same time, audiences in China said she wasn't Chinese enough. Just unbelievable. Okay, so let's dig right into this paradox by looking at what might be the single most glaring, most outrageous example of the injustice she had to deal with. This right here, this moment just says it all. The Good Earth was a huge deal, a major film based on a famous novel about a Chinese family. The lead role of Olan was everything Wong had been fighting for her entire career: complex, human, powerful. But instead of casting its most famous Chinese-American star, who do you think MGM gave the role to? A white actress, Louise Rayner, who then won an Oscar for her performance in Yellowface. So you have to ask, right? How on earth does the biggest Chinese-American star of the time get passed over for the biggest Chinese role of the decade? And maybe more importantly, how did she respond to a lifetime of gut punches just like this one? Because her reaction, that tells you everything you need to know about her. To really understand that resilience, we've got to go back to the very beginning. Her ambition was just off the charts right from the start. I mean, just look at this timeline. This shows she wasn't just discovered. No, she forced her way into the industry. At 9 years old, she was hanging around movie sets so much, they nicknamed her the Curious Chinese Child. By 11, she'd already picked out her own stage name. 14, she's an extra. And by 19, she's an international star in the massive blockbuster The Thief of Baghdad. Her climb was absolutely relentless. But all that stardom in Hollywood came with a price, and that price was being stuck in the same stereotypical roles over and over. So in a move of pure defiance and brilliance, she decided, you know what, I'm taking my talents elsewhere. Now, to really get her decision, you have to understand this term, yellow face. This wasn't something that just happened once in a while. It was standard practice. White actors were constantly cast in the lead Asian roles that should have gone to actors like Wong, partly because the infamous Hays Code at the time wouldn't allow interracial romance on screen. So what did she do? She didn't just sit around and complain. She acted. She was totally frustrated with being the exotic villain all the time. So she packed her bags in 1928 and left for Europe. And this wasn't just a trip. It was a protest. It was a power move. And guess what? It worked. Big time. In Europe, she finally found the artistic freedom she'd been craving. She became a huge sensation in Berlin, Paris, and London. She was working in multiple languages, sharing the screen with other rising stars like a young Marlene Dietrich in the wild days of Weimar Berlin. She proved she was a true international talent, not just some Hollywood curiosity. And she used this new international fame as leverage when she eventually came back to America. She didn't come back with her tail between her legs. She came back with more power. This quote really gets to the core of her strategy. The woman never, ever stopped innovating. Every single time Hollywood put up a roadblock, she just found a way to go around it. Her entire career was just a masterclass in resilience. Seriously, she was always one step ahead of the game. She completely mastered the huge technological shift from silent films to talkies. And then later, when most movie stars looked down on television, thinking it was a step down, Wong saw an opportunity. She jumped headfirst into this brand new medium and became the first Asian American ever to lead a US television show. She simply refused to be left behind. So while Hollywood was busy creating its fake version of China for movies like The Good Earth, May went on a journey to the real one. Right after that Good Earth snub, she spent a whole year touring China, reconnecting with her ancestral home. She even confronted criticism from the nationalist government there, which was angry about the stereotypical roles Hollywood had forced her into. After a lifetime spent fighting tooth and nail for her place on screen, her story entered this long, quiet period. only to reemerge decades later with incredible force. And tragically, Wong died way too young, at just 56. And for years and years after her death, her pioneering work, her incredible stardom, it was mostly forgotten, just a footnote in film history. It was like the doors she fought so hard to kick open had slammed shut right behind her. And let's be clear, her struggle for representation is far from over. This number is just staggering. As recently as 2015, more than half of all movies, TV shows, and streaming stories in the US had zero, not one, Asian or Asian American actor in a speaking role. The same biases that held anime back are absolutely still at play today. But in just the last few years, there's been this powerful, wonderful reclamation of her legacy. She's been honored on the US Quarter, celebrated with her own Barbie, featured in a Google Doodle, and there's a major biopic about her life in the works. It feels like the world is finally catching up to May Wong. She was a true pioneer. She proved, without a doubt, that an Asian American actor could be a charismatic, compelling global star. She lit the torch and handed it to a new generation. And that leaves us with a really critical question. 100 years later, May Wong kicked that door open. But is Hollywood truly ready to walk through it?